happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a top 10 list of 1990s one-hit wonders brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below or the patron link on the end screen. Obviously, you can tell that I'm a little older, right? So I lived through these 90s one-hit wonders. I think I know about half the songs on here is all. I was fading in and out of radio. You know how it is. You get older, you get married, you have kids, you start your career. You don't spend as much time in the music genre. So I know some of these and some of them I don't. I might be surprised. Some of them I do, and I didn't know who it was or what it was. So we will find out. But if you've never been with us before, there'll be a Vimeo link below that'll have all the music in it. Can't put it up on here or it will get blocked. So click on that Vimeo link below. Follow along with us. Let's get this thing started. We have Chesney Hawks, the one and only, off Buddy's Song album in 1991. Richard says, a pop earworm written by the 80s singer Nick Kershaw. I've got debut single by British singer and actor Chesney Hawks. It was featured in the 1991 film Buddy's Song, which starred Hawks as the Buddy and Roger Daltrey as his father. The film performed moderately well at the UK box office, but the song was a hit, spending 5 weeks at #1 on the UK singles chart. Nick Kershaw, you're talking about influence, can also be heard throughout the track, not only in the guitar style, but in the backing vocals on the intro and choruses, with Hawks singing the verses. In the U.S., it's featured in the 1991 film Doc Hollywood, a film that I really like. It's probably not that great of a film, Michael J. Fox. So I knew this song from that. It was his only hit in the U.S., peaking at number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Richard. The one and only. It's a quick one. I mean, it's not a short song, but just the driving of it just puts a smile on your face, man, when they hit that chorus. I don't know what else to say. He's just saying, I am who I am, and you're not going to change me. You're not going to bring me down. It's basically the idea of the song, but the guitar hidden. It just is. It isn't pop earworm. I mean, Richard described it exactly right, but really good. Next up, we have the Tony Rich Project with Nobody Knows off the Words album in 1996, his or their debut. Richard says an R&B hit from the American singer in 1996. Went to 2 in the US, 4 in the UK. It also became a hit in several other countries, topping the Irish singles chart, reaching number 2 in Australia and Canada. Tony eventually just became Tony Rich, right? He received a nomination for the 1997 Grammy Award for Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. I know this song. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know it. I know Nobody Knows. All right, Nobody Knows, the Tony Rich Project. I mean, just so smooth. It just sticks in your head. You feel his emotion, just a great vocal performance. It's really too bad Tony Rich has some major talent that he wasn't able to push through then, but I mean, the landscape was crowded with, in the U.S. at least at this time in the mid-90s, with musical genres splitting apart everywhere, right? Everybody's going a different direction. So it was really hard to get a foothold, but really, really good song. I mean, the idea is that she's gone. He didn't do enough to keep her. And like, he's just playing it cool, right? Like he's fine with it, but nobody knows that, but him, that he's just dying inside. So a great song. Next up, we have Maria McKee and Show Me Heaven off the Days of Thunder soundtrack in 1990. We're actually going to watch a live video of this, of a live performance, but this one went to number 1 in the UK and was the 6th highest selling single of 1990. Didn't chart in the US, but became a worldwide hit, topping the charts of Belgium, the Netherlands, and Norway, and becoming a top 5 hit in Australia, Ireland, Sweden, and Switzerland. She didn't like the lyrics from the original one that was presented to her. She wasn't even going to record it. They agreed to let her rewrite most of the lyrics. So that was a pretty cool story. Now, I actually know this song because I know this movie very well, because in the summer of 1990, this guy was working in a movie theater and Days of Thunder was out. And a buddy of mine would go sneak in the theater every once in a while, and we try to memorize every word of the dialogue. I don't know. It's one of those things you do when you're 19 years old. But I know this song well. I had this soundtrack, so let's do it. All right, Maria McKee, Show Me Heaven. Let me tell you something. That was an incredible performance. I'm so glad Richard sent that live performance link. She was not lip syncing that. Like, you always got to look at these, because usually you can tell, but some artists are so good, you got to really look. Obviously, they're playing a backing track for her because there's no musicians there, but she's singing this thing live, and the power in her voice is absolutely incredible. I mean, the song is just Tom Cruise as a race car driver, and he gets in a wreck, and Nicole Kidman is his doctor. And I mean, they end up getting married in real life and all that good stuff. And so this song is like played in an overview of their romantic relationship, but so good. I can't believe this was not a hit in America. It would have hit in 1990. It should have hit. And can't believe Maria didn't become a bigger star. I think she was in a band before this, but I can't remember who when I was doing this research. But I'll tell you what, the first three choices have been fantastic. Next up, we got Primitive Radio Gods, their song Standing Outside a Broken Phone Booth with Money in My Hand from the Cable Guys soundtrack and their 1996 album Rocket. Richard says, song with possibly the longest title of the 90s. It's got to be right on up there. Their debut single, 10 in the US, 2 in Canada. Its chorus consists of a sample from the 1964 B.B. King song, How Blue Can You Get? And the lyrics describe a troubling relationship in which two people cannot connect on an emotional level. The title is a reference to the unrelated song Outside a Broken Phone Booth with Money in My Hand by Bruce Cockburn, who we actually have a top 10 of from his 1978 album, Further Adventure Level. We're going to watch the video for this one. All right, Standing Outside a Broken Phone Booth with Money in My Hand, Primitive Radio Gods. Phone booths, boys and girls, you don't have them anymore, but they're a big part of when I grew up because you couldn't get a hold of anybody anywhere else. You didn't have cell phones, but a very interesting song, right? It is structured. It is an odd song, not in a bad way, but it's definitely odd. I think that's what made it stand out because it's got that chorus. Starts out with a chorus, and that's the B.B. King riff. I don't even really know what the song's about. First, I think it's about him and this girl getting together, but I think he's just free-flowing about a lot of different things. But it's really good. I mean, it has some electronica in there. It's got to be a drum machine. They're a repeating riff, but it doesn't get old, even though the instrumentation runs for a long time in this song, which is also pretty odd for a single that does really well. It's only 4 minutes, 29 seconds, the video, the single version, but there is a lot of just instrumentation in there without lyrics, but really, really good song, man. Like I said, it sticks in your head. That riff sticks in your head right away. Even the way his voice is mixed in the background, right? That faraway voice, it's unique, so good choice. But next up, we have Sean Mullins, his song Lullaby from Soul's Core in 1998. 7 in the US, 9 in UK, 5 in Australia, 2 in Canada. It's said to be about, quote, a girl who is feeling depressed, crying out for a life away from her upbringing. A life full of Hollywood days and movie-starred filled nights. So whether you're a girl or a guy, you probably dreamed of something of that nature at some point. I do know this song incredibly well. All right, Lullaby, Sean Mullins. Besides the fact that he spells his name the correct way, that's always a plus in the Sean world. It's a good song, man. It's an interesting song. Also in song structure, I think it's what made it stand out. He does a lot of speak singing. And I like when he's talking about Hollywood, the great line, it's like Nashville with a tan. And, it's talking about the girl, and it's kind of what he said it was about at the beginning. But I like the build, the slow choruses to the fast and rockin' verses. It sticks in your head, but still a good song all these years later. All right, next up we have the Connells, 74-75 from the Ring album in 1993. Richard says a coming-of-age hit released in 93. Third single released. Didn't chart in the US, it would later become a European hit for the band in 1995, reaching the top 10 in a total of 11 European countries and peaking at number 1 in Norway and Sweden. It also charted in the top 20 of the UK. In the song, singer Mike Connell nostalgically reflects on the passing of time and how people he used to know have changed now. So we're going to get on a little run here of songs I know I don't know, and I don't know this one. All right, the Connells, 74-75. Never heard that song. Really good, much more chilled than a lot of these other songs, but he's basically writing to this girl. I think it's 74-75 is like the year they graduated from high school. And he's writing to this girl who has found him after all these years, wanting to get back with him, I think. And he's like, I think he must have been the one that broke it off, right? It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. So why'd you come find me? So just really well done, well produced. Enjoyed it. Next up, we have Babybird, You're Gorgeous from the Ugly Beautiful album in 1996. Richard says a cheery 1996 hit with the hidden horrors of model exploitation in the lyrics. I found it's a song by British musical project Babybird. Babybird member Stephen Jones wrote the song and co-produced it with Steve Power. It was their only top 40 hit on the UK singles chart, peaking at number 3, reached the top 40 in Australia, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, New Zealand, and Sweden. The song's lyrics are interpreted to describe the way a photographer exploits his models. The track is often mistaken as a love song due to the way it's initially presented, with one person complimenting the other, until it's revealed that the narrator is a female model speaking to the photographer. I don't know this one either. Let's check it out. All right, You're Gorgeous by Babybird. The keyboard in there almost sounded like a xylophone. Like, that's such a pleasant sound in the way he hit that You're Gorgeous. Just a really catchy song. And if you didn't pay attention to the lyrics, you wouldn't think anything of it, right? The love song, you're singing that You're Gorgeous. The lyrics are very troubling, as this guy just basically sexually exploited this model, right? Sexually abused her. So yeah, it's quite the dichotomy of a song, pleasant sounding. The chorus is pleasant sounding, but the lyrics are they're intense. Next up at number 3, we got White Town with Your Woman from the Women in Technology album in 1997. Richard says hit that samples My Woman from 1932, which later inspired the Star Wars music for Darth Vader, which I can hear in my head right now. I found it was the lead single, features a muted trumpet line taken from a 1932 recording of My Woman by Lou Stone and his Monsieur Band. The song peaked at number 1 in the UK, reached number 1 in Iceland, Israel, and Spain, peaked within the top 10 of the charts of at least 12 countries, reached 23 in the US, so I might know this song. In 2010, it was named the 158th best track of the 90s by Pitchfork. Jyote Prakash Mishra, White Town's sole member and the writer of this song, had garnered some notoriety within the UK underground music scene in the years leading up to the song's mainstream release. Mishra stated the lyrics could stem from or be related to multiple situations. He says, quote, "When I wrote it, I was trying to write a pop song that had more than one perspective. Although it's written in the first person, the character behind that viewpoint isn't necessarily what the casual listener would expect." So what does it mean? I don't know from that. Your Woman, so a very ambiguous song. I read an interview here with him that said also that he said it could be, is about a crush he originally had on a girl who was a lesbian, but it could be about her crush on another girl or gay men or whatever. He said it could be whatever. It's a dance tune, right? It's a club tune. It's got some industrial beat to it that sticks in your head, some distant mixing of the voice for a little bit, so it really pulls you in because it was very interesting for that point in time. I'm surprised it only reached the mid-20s in the US because I do remember this song very well. All right, at number 2, we got Stiltskin Inside from the Mind's Eye in 1994. Richard says hit that was first heard in a Levi's commercial, was the lead single of the debut album Scottish rock band Stiltskin. It was written by Peter Lawler for the British Levi's ad Vert Creek. Inside is a post-grunge song with lyrics about escaping oppression. All instruments on this recording were played by Peter Lawler, except lead vocals by Ray Wilson, who was to become the new Genesis singer after the departure of Phil Collins. The introductory chorus is sung by the Ambrosian Singers. Went to 1 in the UK, becoming the 4th song to top the list following use in a Levi's advert. Wow, I wanted to get all those Levi's ads. It's also a worldwide hit, reaching the top 10 in more than 10 European countries and finding moderate success in Australia, New Zealand, and the US. It uses the music for Sky Sports coverage of the Scottish Premier League between 1998 and 2002. US a little bit in 1994. Maybe I'll know it. We're going to watch the video for this one. All right, Inside. Stiltskin starts out with the Levi's ad. I'm assuming that's the ad in its entirety and rocks. And much more rocking than any song on here. The guitar riffs are fantastic. What it's about, who the heck knows? I mean, I read the lyrics. I don't know. It's more just about the rocking. A really catchy tune. Like I said, the guitar riff sticks in your head. All right, here we go. Number 1. You see it below. Save Tonight. Eagle Eye Cherry. Richard says hit from Nina's brother and uncle of Mabel. Lead single from the debut album. 5 in the US, 6 in the UK. I know this song really well. All right, Save Tonight. Coming in number 1 on Richard's top 10 90s one-hit wonders. I know that song very well, very catchy. It's about the fact that you want to keep tonight, right? You don't want tomorrow to come, whether it's in a relationship, you don't want to leave the one you care about. Maybe you're at an event, maybe you're enjoying something, a party, a concert, a sports event, whatever. You just want this to last forever, and you're already feeling bad because you know that it's got to end. And we've all been there, right? Probably several times. I thought really one of the highlights on the song is the acoustic guitar, and the way the acoustic and the electric overlap, it just really brings it in to your head. And I mean, Eagle Eye has an excellent voice. All right, now we're going to get to my favorite tracks. And this list is very interesting for me, right? Because some of these songs I know very well. So like an old familiar friend, I haven't heard them in years and years, decades, some of them. So they're like an old friend, right? That brings you back to a time and place. I always talk about this on this channel. There's nothing like the nostalgia of music where you can hear a song and it instantly takes you right back to a time and place. So I've got to try to kind of fight that when I'm trying to objectively choose my favorites. But that's kind of hard to do. But honorable mentions is going to be the Connells 74-75 and Babybird, You're Gorgeous. I had not heard either one of those songs, but all of my favorites I knew very well. So I think there's some bias there. I admit Chesney Hawks, The One and Only, Tony Rich Project, Nobody Knows, Maria McKee, Show Me Heaven, and this last song, Eagle Eye Cherry, Save Tonight. So let me know what your favorites are in the comments below. What other one-hit wonders from the 90s do you enjoy? Thank you to Richard for cultivating this list. These lists are never easy to put together. I always give kudos to the patrons because these are not easy. And something like this, it has such a wide variety of things, right? You're not even searching an artist. It's just 90s one-hit wonders. You got to put some work in. So thank you to Richard for doing that. Until next time, guys, I will see you.